Senator Reid wasting no time using this military tragedy, our nation's now tragedy, as an opportunity to talk about the sequester. And his comments are sparking outrage. Former Congressman Allen West tweeting, Senator Reid, disgusted by your attempt to politicize the death of 7 Marines in Nevada. If you possessed any shred of honor, you'd apologize now. Well, late today, Senator Reid's office issuing this statement. In the wake of the Hawthorne tragedy, Senator Reid's thoughts are with the Marines who were killed or injured and their loved ones. The idea that Senator Reid thinks the Hawthorne tragedy has anything to do with the sequester is absurd and unsubstantiated by his remarks on the topic. Marines would not be forced to operate under unsafe conditions due to budget cuts. So is that the apology Congressman West was looking for? He joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Greta.
Before we get to the topic of whether or not that is what you're looking for from Senator Reid, your thoughts tonight with the announcement that now we have lost an 8th Marine in that explosion?
Well, absolutely. Condolences go out to the families of all those Marines that lost their lives, especially one of the families who live locally in the South Florida area where I reside. But that apology or faux apology is not sufficient. I believe the most important thing that Senator Harry Reid must do is to go over to the Marine barracks at 8th and I, stand there with the Commandant of the Marine Corps before formation of Marines, and truly give an apology for what he said on the Senate floor, because for him to try to draw a connection between sequestration, budget cuts, and what happened, we don't need anyone politicizing this event, especially when just May of last year, 2012, when he had a totally different stance, and that was in a political article. But Greta, I received countless amounts of emails from the Regiment of Retired Marines, and I'd just like to take the time to read one of those statements from a very senior retired Marine officer, call sign Jade, when he says, the majority leader of the Senate, a position which calls for the utmost and principle-centered behavior, statesmanship, civility, dignity, and decorum, not to mention intellect and common sense, stoops to such callow, crassly political statements as those uttered by Senator Reid. He demeans the office he holds as well as the entire body he serves, and that would include his fellow senators, constituents, and all Americans, especially those who have made and repeatedly honored a commitment to serve in harm's way when required. You know, I was an artillery officer for 22 years in the United States Army, and I have a lot of experience with mortars. And one of the things that he should be looking at, and just allow people to do the investigation, is the bore riding pin in that 60mm mortar system, which is also a common instance in 81mm mortar systems, as well as the possibility of a hot cook-off with that mortar round. So for him to go on the Senate floor and try to use this as some type of political statement, he needs to send an apology not just to the families, but to all the Marines, and especially with the Commandant of the Marine Corps.
Is there any chance in your mind that it was just a clumsy statement? Let me give you another spin on it. That what he meant is, you know, the sequester is so painful to the military that he, you know, is just very sort of clumsy in trying to highlight the pain of the sequester, and that it just sounded wrong. I realize that his statement isn't exactly an explanation of that view, but is there any chance in your mind that that was just, you know, a stupid way to say something?
Well, let me take this quote from the Senator Harry Reid from last year. To now see the Republicans scrambling to do away with the cuts to defense, I will not accept that, Reid said. My people in the state of Nevada and I think the country have had enough of whacking all the programs we've cut to the bare bone. And defense is going to have to bear their share of the burden. So not only has he offended the United States Marine Corps and these families who lost their loved ones, he's also a hypocrite when you think about what he said just May of last year. So I don't see this as a clumsy statement. I see this as a deliberate thing that he has said, much the same as when he accused Mitt Romney of certain things from the Senate floor. Harry Reid has to be called responsible for the statements that he made. And as I said, he needs to go over to the Marine barracks at 8th and I before formation of Marines, standing with the Commandant, and give an apology. And not just have some spokespeople from his office do it. That's cowardly.
I will say that that it's with his statement that was issued by his office. I find it difficult to say that we should think it was sort of just a clumsy statement that he made on the Senate floor, other than maybe if his staff was just sort of increasing the problem for him. But I'm curious. I mean, it's this whole idea of using a tragedy, and this is a horrible tragedy, as political ammunition. What's happened?
Well, I think that you see a lack of character. We have seen this old scare tactic being used, by the administration, even by the president when it comes to sequestration. But to take an event, a tragic event, which also happened back in March of 2011 at Fort Bragg, North Carolina with the 10th Marine Regiment, and this time it occurred with a lightweight 155 millimeter artillery piece, and try to use this for political grandstanding and politicking is reprehensible, and it truly is despicable. And I think it's about time that the American people demand more and have Harry Reid, be held accountable for this statement that he made, because to try to impugn the training and the readiness of our Marine Corps so that he can make these cute political points, that's horrific. And as I said, the Regiment of Retired Marines, Senator Reid, is not happy with you whatsoever.
Well, I do hope that tomorrow he takes advantage of his position and goes back to the Senate floor and has another conversation with the American people about this. So we'll see whether or not he does, or whether he takes your advice to go down to the talk in front of the Marine Corps. Congressman, thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure, Greta. Thank you.